Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome to the show. I'm about to get back on a more regularly scheduled live schedule, but these LA riots are crazy. So I figured we'd just watch some of this and, yeah, see what's all going on down here. But it's getting crazy in LA, guys. Me being in Cali, I know it could spread up here real fast. And of course, you see the pride flags in the background. Max said, "Ice, ice, baby." It's getting wild down there, bro. Like, I seriously don't know what these people think is going to happen if National Guard and ICE and them really turn the heat up. Like, once they get to a point where they're done playing with these people, it's going to get nasty. Like, oh my goodness. Like, law enforcement is going to protect the laws of the land, you guys. I don't know. You wouldn't see me out there rioting and protesting like this. It's stupid. Like, it's just stupid. You're just asking for trouble. What's up, Stefan? Stefan said, "Welcome to the new way of life." Yeah, I guess. I mean, yeah, law enforcement's only going to let them go so far, and then they're going to find out. But, man. But the occult's main belief is order out of chaos. This is all Lucifer right here. He's the one that wants people doing anarchy and rioting, and this is all the spirit of the devil right here. I mean, I really do see their side of you. Their families are being taken away. I mean, I really do get that, but this isn't the way to go about it. This, yeah, it's just not the way to go about it right here. This is what they want. They they want complete chaos and anarchy and us fighting against each other. This is their plan. So it's just not the right way to go about it, guys. Because if this starts popping off in multiple cities across the country, then they can declare martial law against us. So, yeah, it's just not smart. For what I've noticed, though, a lot of the protests seem pretty peaceful, and then a certain group of people show up, and then stuff just goes crazy. Like I was talking to someone a while ago, and they were basically pointing out how all the Soros bricks were already there waiting and stuff. So, yeah, you gotta watch out for a lot of this because they count on people going out here, and then they send in certain groups like Antifa and those scumbags to come out and start a bunch of crap and get stuff really going. Steph and the riots are in LA. It's because of all the mass deportations going on right now, specifically to Mexicans that are being deported back to Mexico. Max said, my in-laws had to pay thousands of dollars for years before becoming citizens. These criminals crossed illegally, and I pay for their food and shelter. Send them all back. I mean, I don't disagree with that. I mean, pretty much everyone in America is an immigrant. We all came, our families came from different countries, whether it be Ireland, Africa, wherever. And they all came back in the day through a process and all had to follow the process. And they had to pay. So I have no issues with them being here at all. It's that when they come across illegally, we have to pay for it. Like Max says, we pay the taxes. And then when they open the borders like they did, so many criminals came across. I guarantee a ton of the T words came across. They don't know who all came into the country. It's just it's a mess. It really is a mess. What was your party? Okay. We'll talk about it later.
Unsafe behavior detected. Authorities may be contacted. Unsafe behavior.
My bad, guys. My nephew just got back from his baseball party.
Unsafe behavior detected. Authorities may be contacted.
What's that? Yo, what is that right there? Is that like some type of sensor or something?
Unsafe behavior detected. Authorities may be contacted.
Well, what is that? I've never seen one of those. That's crazy. Oh, it's an ICE car. I didn't know ICE had cars. That thing's crazy. Oh, wow. Stefan said he used to do riot control in '93. Not a nice job. Hats off to those cops. Yeah, I bet, bro. You're getting stuff thrown at you, and yeah, I bet.
Unsafe behavior detected. Authorities may be contacted. Unsafe behavior detected. Authorities may be contacted.
Hey, what's the way, boy?
Authorities may be contacted. Unsafe behavior detected. Authorities may be contacted.
That's crazy. That car can detect unsafe behavior. What? That's actually kind of scary. Man.
Unsafe behavior detected. Authorities may be contacted.
That shit we can't have.
Unsafe behavior detected. Authorities may be contacted. Unsafe behavior detected. Authorities may be contacted.
Got the Free Palestine signs going on. Crazy. If they would do their history, they would see there never was a Palestine. It comes from the word Philistine. There's no such thing as Palestine, guys. It's always been the land of Israel, the land that God gave to them. I think it's probably a mix, Stefan. I think it's probably half and half. I think some people want them deported and others don't. For me, I living in California, when the borders opened, I saw the effect that the crime rate had in all the cities in California. They skyrocketed. Like we saw the cars with broken windows just overnight. It was insane. So that's the thing for me why I think they should have to go through and do things the right way, because it vets people. They have no clue the people they've let into the country when he opened the borders like that. There was there was prisons in South America that were opening their prisons and sending all their prisoners to America, like thousands of them at a time. It's that is so wild. So basically, they sent all their criminals up here. It's wild. It's a wild situation.
No, everybody has a fence. I would really recommend getting in front of the fence so don't make a turn there. I would really recommend getting in front because there's only two exits. And there's a lot of you guys. I would just stand right in front of it if I were y'all. So everyone stay safe.
I think what pissed a lot of people off too was they were bringing a lot of people across and they were giving them $10,000. They were giving them thousands of dollars worth of phones. They were putting them up in hotels that cost thousands of dollars a night. When, yeah, when there's cities in America that are so ran down and so poverty stricken, it pisses people off. I mean, this probably isn't a good conversation to get into, but I don't care. It is what it is. But we don't even. I mean, there's problems in a lot of cities in America that need to be taken care of for the people that have already been here and are established, and it's a mess. Like one of these days, I'll go make a homeless video of just around my area. It's insane, like insane. You can drive down the freeway, and all you'll see on the freeway on both sides are just tents the whole way down. It's wild. I've never seen the amount of homeless people that I have in the last year. It's crazy.
We gotta keep moving. They can't follow us if we keep moving.
I mean, see, like this right here, this seems like it's peaceful. I don't really have an issue when it's peaceful like this, because that is our right as Americans to have a peaceful protest. So I don't see nothing too wrong with this scene right here. There's nothing like crazy going on, and they seem like they're being respectful. So scenes like this, I don't have an issue with. It's when they start vandalizing, and because you're not doing it to the system, you're doing it to other Americans' property that are probably just as in debt as you, and you're just destroying other people's stuff that are struggling too. So that's where I have an issue when all the vandalism and stuff comes in, because they're not hurting the system with the stuff they're vandalizing. They're just hurting other citizens, and they're making their own communities even worse. And Max said after Hurricane Katrina, thousands were sent to Houston and they started looting and running wild. So the started, yeah, that is pretty wild. Yeah. You guys can read the comment. If I finished it, it'd probably get it flagged or something. Looks like she's going to jail. They're over. Okay, I know where they are. Over by San Pedro in Pasadena. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you there too, Mac. That's what I'm saying. This isn't smart when law enforcement and ICE and the National Guard like really get serious. It's not going to be good for all these people. I can tell you right now. It's not going to be good for them because they'll get to a point where they're going to do what they got to do, and that's when it could get really ugly. I mean, I just had seen Trump had tweeted out something recently where he told law enforcement to basically go and put down the insurrection in LA or something like that. So, yeah, I don't think they're too far off from shutting this down. That's the other thing that'd be irritating me. Like, why are you going to go and shut down a freeway when people are just trying to? That's what pisses me off too. Like, you're just messing with other citizens. You're not messing with the system. You're just so stupid. That's so irritating right there. I'd be pissed if I was in one of those cars. Yeah, this is pretty tame right now, Stefan, for sure. Yeah, I've seen some South African riots, crazy people getting shot and craziness. But these ones can get there real fast. Just how things are right now down there. This could turn that way real quick. then you got dumb signs like this: abolish police. And what do you think is going to happen the first time somebody runs in your house or something? Who are you going to call? Especially you morons out there that are so anti-gun. Like, seriously, it's usually the ones who are anti-gun who are wanting to abolish the police too. But what are you going to do the first time you get in trouble? You don't own a gun. There's nobody you can call for help. Yeah, that's when you would really think about it and be like, no, what do we do? Morons. Yeah, I'll check that out here in a minute, Stefan. But yeah, Stefan, a lot of these crowds are Soros crowds. They are, yeah, they're funded for sure.
It's still the same game. But usually if you put on you don't have cash on you, do you? Cash? Yeah? There's a lady with a hot dog. You want some water?
I'm gonna go down there. If you're documented, you're a citizen. Fill in the gaps. Get off the sidelines. We need people on the streets.
Oh, that's an Antifa person yelling right there.
Why are we divided? Let's go.
You'll see what Trump had to say, and we'll come back to it.
I canceled my Midjourney subscription because this AI does everything I need for a one-time cost.
President, on California, are you prepared to invoke the Insurrection Act?
Depends on whether or not there's an insurrection. No, but you have violent people, and we're not going to let them get away with it.
Do you think if Democrats continue to side with illegal aliens over law enforcement, that they'll ever be able to win a national election again?
I love this guy. I think that is the great. Who are you with?
Breitbart News.
Great. It's a great group. Breitbart. Great group. I think that you're going to see some very strong law and order.
CNN's Dana Bash suggesting that this wasn't a real riot in Los Angeles.
Is that what she said? Oh, I think it was a riot. I think it was very bad. It was covered really as a riot by almost everybody.
What is the purpose of your meetings at Camp David in the next 24
Going
hours?
up to Camp David, we have meetings with various people about very major subjects. Now, we thought we'd do it at Camp David. There's probably better security there than any place. We'll be meeting with a lot of people, including generals, as you know, and admirals. No. So we'll be meeting with military people and others.
And will there be any foreign visitors at Camp David?
Even if you don't plan to invoke the Insurrection Act, do you plan to send troops to Los Angeles?
What?
Even if you're not planning to invoke the Insurrection Act, you still plan to send troops?
Well, we're going to have troops everywhere. We're not going to let this happen to our country. We're not going to let our country be torn apart like it was under Biden and his auto pen.
What is the bar for sending Marines?
The bar is what I think it is. I mean, if we see danger to our country and to our citizens, we'll be very, very strong in terms of law and order. It's about law and order.
Sending active Marines on the table, sir. Secretary
We're going to see what we need. We'll send whatever we need to make sure there's law and order.
Do you foresee those protests spreading to other cities, Chicago?
Yeah, see, they're not going to play around with those. He's saying right there multiple times, law and order. They're not going to play around with these riots.
New York, for example, in the next few days?
Yes, we're going to be watching it very closely. And when they spit at people, they spit. That's their new thing. They spit, and worse, you know what they throw at them, right? And when that happens, I have a little statement. They say, they spit, we hit. And I told them, nobody's going to spit on our police officers. Nobody's going to spit on our military, which they do as a common thing. They get up to them this far away, and then they start spitting in their face. That happens, they get hit very hard.
Man, yeah, you don't spit in someone's face. That's the most disrespectful thing you can do. Come on.
Engagement, the federal troops. We'll see what happens. If we think there's a serious insurrection or less than that, we're going to have law and order. Very important.
How would you define an insurrection?
You have to really just have to look at the site. You have to see what's happening. Last night in Los Angeles, we watched it very closely. There was a lot of violence there. There was a lot of violence, and it could have gotten much worse. And you have an incompetent governor. Just take a look at the train stations that he's building. Like 20 times over budget. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. So.
Yeah, I cannot stand Newsom. Newsom is such a piece of garbage. I can't wait till he's out of there. He has screwed our state so bad. He sold the state out for money. Max says, you spit, I empty clip. Yeah, you don't spit in a man's face.
I did call him the other night. I said, look, you got to take care of this. Otherwise, I'm sending in the troops. That's what we did. Thank you very much. You have a question for Marco? Question for Marco?
I'm just curious if California officials could face federal charges if they stand in the way of the deportation. Something that Holman may have
If the
suggested.
officials stand in the way of law and order, yeah, they will face charges. Thank you very much.
He didn't say federal, though. You do not want no federal charges. The feds don't lose. They got like a 98.9 conviction rate or something. The feds do not lose cases. That's wild.
Multiple officers, several squads of officers getting on sand. You saw all those vehicles parked back behind that underpass, and they seem now to be getting activated. They're up underneath this underpass right now, and as I pull out of the shot, it would seem that their bullseye right now is going to be these people that are still on the freeway trying to get them off the freeway. Now, they have managed to turn around a number of the vehicles that were trapped on the freeway. They actually had to turn around and go the wrong way on the southbound side, going northbound to get them off the freeway. So quite the coordinated effort from CHP, and I would anticipate their next focus is going to try and get all these bodies off the freeway.
All right, Roland, we're going to stay with your images from News Chopper 4 as we bring in our Lolita Lopez, who is joining us on the phone. She is somewhat near the 101. Lolita, what are you seeing from your vantage point?
Yeah, I'll let you know. I'm at the 101 and Alameda Street, right underneath the underpass, which is something that perhaps Roland can't see, but I can put my eyes on. There are many police officers prepared sort of in their SWAT gear, moving that group that we have seen get onto the 101 freeway. This is the one that's going eastbound. The westbound side is now reopened. At one point while we were here over the last half an hour, both sides of the freeway were completely stopped, cars stopped in their tracks. Right now we see the highway patrol going through, like the highway patrol, yes, from PHP, as helicopters from the LAPD are above. But around this entire perimeter, I would say some 3 or 4 blocks along the 101, along Los Angeles, Maine, as well as Alameda Street, half of the people on the sidewalks, those folks that had been perhaps here at a earlier rally that was by City Hall. We were there earlier. That rally lasted about an hour and a half. Peaceful. They were cheering and chanting, wanting for transparency in the immigration rate, as well as those who were detained, trying to make sure that they knew that they could be heard. That stemmed into this. We've been here for all day downtown. What started out as a very peaceful with the messages that they were trying to portray moving forward with that demonstration has now turned into this situation now on the freeway. And as you can see, it doesn't seem like anyone is budging at this moment. Folks along the sides are definitely rallying through, and all around, like I said, this entire area is just packed with people. I'm sure you can see it from above, but while you're here on the ground, it's very palpable how many people are here as part of this scenario. And earlier we had heard what appeared to have been flashbangs. There was fireworks that were set off. They were set up in the sky. So a lot of different commotion and activity. It doesn't seem like there's any real danger. We're right next to someone now that's banging on a street sign. So at this point, we're just kind of keeping our distance a bit from getting too close in there. But it's definitely passive people. As you can see, the 101 is still tied up there, and law enforcement is trying to make their way to sort of move them through in a more steady fashion.
Yeah, we see them
that's a lot of people out
backtracking
there
and, in
now.
fact, starting to run away as we saw those officers, where we believe just a block over from you, an underpass over from you, were converging. They're trying to get them there off the roadway, Lolita, and I'm sure that's what you're seeing too.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I've noticed too, Jonathan, and I don't mean to interrupt you, but I've noticed too is a difference from Friday when we saw lots of flashbang tear gas. We haven't seen that in this scenario. This looks more, and I won't speak to operations, but it looks more of what I've seen in the past, where they are like systematically moving sort of the line of law enforcement moving forward and moving the folks backwards as they go. I haven't seen what I did see on Friday when the federal agents were in those different operations downtown in the Fashion District. A lot of smoke in the air, what appeared to have been either tear gas or pepper spray. So that is very different.
All right. We know that it has been deployed earlier in the day because we've heard reports of that.
Yeah, pepper spray. Yeah, pepper spray is no fun. I heard you can get adjusted to it. I got hit once with it, and they weren't even shooting it at me. They were shooting it at somebody else. But I just got like a little bit of it, and that, it was not fun.
But this time.
Yeah, and Kathy, we were a block away at okay, so just to give you perspective, we were about a block away to the north where the Roy Ball federal building is and where most of the protests had converged. That is where it is believed that the folks that had been detained were taken. The accounts of people in the basement of that building in federal detention. So that is where they had congregated, and there we did about an hour ago the flashbang pepper spray. That is something that was happening in that area in order to disperse folks from there. From that Alameda area, they then walked 2 blocks to the 101, which is where we stand now, and this has become the situation that you see right here. So it has moved over and now converged onto the freeway, what has started over about 2 blocks away near the Federal Detention Center.
Yeah, this is all the result of several planned protests, and now it's just, chaos there over the 101. It doesn't appear to be moving much, Lolita. As far as officers on the ground, are you seeing, is it LAPD? Is it National Guard? Is it other agencies as well?
Who would name their kid Lolita? Oh, that's disgusting.
I will tell you, the only folks that we're seeing are the ones that you see there right on the 101 freeway. I'm going to keep walking around. I'm with a security person as well, making sure that we stay safe here. And I don't see and have not seen police officers on the ground around us. We have seen them on top of buildings. They are around multiple buildings here along this area, sort of visualizing from the top down. These are LAPD officers looking down from both some of the buildings that we see around the area. But in terms of actual vehicles, LAPD vehicles or police officers kind of in the area, no. And I will tell you, too, that while it is quite chaotic there on the 101 freeway, we're walking down the sidewalks here on Aliso in Los Angeles. There are young people, old people, elderly people that had come out to protest here peacefully. There are people with their dogs. And they're moving about in this direction. So, no one feels necessarily nervous, or no one feels necessarily in any type of threatening situation, even though it is definitely chaotic and there are lots of people around.
Yeah, what I see now, I wanted to ask you about the mood, what you're seeing about the mood of the crowd right now, how you would describe it. But I'm seeing a lot of just repositioning, people moving around a lot. That's what we're seeing.
Yeah, and that's what's been happening all day. Like I said, we were up at City Hall about 34 blocks away when we heard that there was an unlawful demonstration called on by the LAPD that was on our website, WCLA.com. We then walked down to see what that looks like, and that's near the Roy Ball Federal Building. We were there on Alameda and watching the dispersed folks there. That was where we first saw flashbangs and smelled it in the air as well. Then everything moved towards the freeway. So it is as if they're trying to shift folks away from certain areas and close off different directions, but then it just spills into the freeway. And this is where it can, for many ways, become very dangerous. But if you're on the sidewalk and you're just talking to people with their signs and their messaging, and the folks that we have talked to before, they're keeping calm, and no one's trying to necessarily become part of what's happening on the 101 there. They're just, they're here for what they came for, which is to ask for transparency in the immigration detention, to find out what's going on with those that are being detained, and to, have more transparency in terms of the rights that they have, here in the United States. And so what we're looking at right now, at least from where I'm standing, and I'm right here at Los Angeles and Aliso, right next to the 101, it seems quite calm. In terms of people, it looks like just people walking. People are just people watching what's happening there on the freeway. That's actually it.
Our Lolita Lopez there on the ground. Lolita, stay with us on the phone and stay safe out there. Right now, we want to get to NBC's David Noriega. He's also in downtown LA. David, thank you for being with us here. Tell us your location and exactly what you've been seeing unfold over the last several minutes.
Yeah, guys, so I am at the intersection of Alameda and Temple.
The group you're seeing behind me of protesters is a group of protesters that came from City Hall, tried to descend on the Metropolitan Detention Center in the Federal Building, which is about 100 yards, 200 yards maybe that way, but were pushed back by LAPD. The MDC, the Metropolitan Detention Center, that is where the National Guard troops are stationed, who are deployed here against the wishes of Governor Newsom. These protesters, really, the protest was targeted at them. It was targeted at the National Guard troops and at DHS, which also has a police presence there alongside the National Guard troops.
Yeah, ask yourself why the governor would not want National Guard there. That's crazy.
But they were repelled. They were pushed back here by LAPD, which in just the last hour or so declared this an unlawful assembly and has been pushing protesters back, including by using several, an array of non-lethal munitions. They've been using rubber rounds, foam rounds, pepper balls. Earlier, the National Guard and DHS used tear gas. At this point, the sort of face-off has come to a little bit of a standstill. Neither side is really moving. The protesters seem to be staying in place, and the police seem to be holding their line. LAPD declared this an unlawful assembly. I've seen at least 4 people get arrested just on this side. I'm sure there are more. Those are just the people we've been able to directly witness. Because again, this is not the only place where protesters are gathered. It's not the only gathering that LAPD has declared unlawful. Back to you guys.
And David, you said that some people have been arrested. Any injuries in this? Has it escalated to that point? Anything like that?
I haven't seen any injuries directly. I can tell you that some of the less lethal munitions that the police have been using are prone to injuring people. These, actually have one right here in my bag. These rubber rounds and foam rounds, they can definitely bruise you up. They can definitely hurt you. Things like this is a 40 millimeter rubber.
Yeah, that's what they're meant to do. That's why they're called non-lethal. They're not supposed to feel good. They're supposed to stop the target.
Round. I haven't seen any injuries directly. I also haven't seen any injured law enforcement. Things have definitely gotten very tense. Folks have been throwing water bottles and things like that at the police line. Police, again, have been repelling them using less lethal munitions. So things are definitely tense. Sometimes that tension boils over into skirmishes between protesters and police. At this point, it seems to have plateaued a little bit, calmed down somewhat. But to answer your question, no injuries that I've witnessed directly, no.
So, David, it appears that from your vantage point, most of the protesters have now converged a couple blocks away onto the freeway. It doesn't seem that, or is there still a large group there behind you? It's tough from our vantage point to see.
Look, from what I can tell here at ground level, it's a pretty large group. As far as I've been able to tell, at least this group hasn't necessarily thinned out. The group that is on the freeway, I don't know if they separated from this group, if it was a separate group. I'm not sure, honestly. Your choppers would be the best way to know the answer to that question. But I can tell you for sure that the group that's gathered behind me is not waning in size or in strength. They're quite large, quite fired up. They're staying here. They don't seem to be willing to move in spite of the police's order to disperse.
Any idea if anybody is throwing anything? We heard something. It sounded almost like the police were talking about throwing some sort of bricks, weapons, water bottles, anything like that happening.
Yeah, Stefan, there was a doctor. He wasn't a real doctor, but they called him Dr. Sebi. He supposedly cured quite a few people of AIDS and some other diseases, and he used all natural herbs. That's all he used. It's actually pretty interesting. They arrested him in New York for practicing medicine without a license, and he was found guilty. He appealed it all the way to the Supreme Court, where he won. But like they showed in the court case, he actually healed people of AIDS and other things. He was a pretty crazy guy. He did an interview in his 70s. I think he was 76, 77. He was sitting on the ground on his knees, and from his knees, he hopped all the way up onto the top of the desk and sat there in a sitting position on his knees at 76 years old. So, yeah, but he said all you need is plants. He didn't eat meat or nothing. He said all people need are plants, and that's how he supposedly cured people. It's a pretty interesting story. You can look it up one day.
Because if they do, it will inevitably continue sort of, pouring gasoline on this conflagration. It's a very big question that we
His name was Dr. Sebi, Sebi, Dr. Sebi.
don't have the answer to at this moment.
All right, now adding the National Guard to that. All right, David Noriega from NBC News, thank you so much for joining us. Stay safe out there. We're going to get back to our coverage here from our helicopter, News Chopper 4. We've been watching what he was describing, everyone pretty much in a standoff. It's a large group down there still. Thankfully, they were able to get most people rerouted, turned around, and off the 101.
And David is just about a block from where the images you're seeing right now. Can we check back in now with Roland Spool about some of the developments here? Because, Roland, we saw officers move in, yet now we're seeing even more people there on the freeway itself.
Exactly, and the standoff is a very good characterization of what we've been watching here at both this freeway underpass and that intersection that officers have been trying to hold down right down the street from the Royable Center. And we saw several squads of CHP officers make their way up underneath this underpass here. And then we saw a group of people actually run from the area and then back up the on-ramp, and then very slowly a number of people trickled back on to the freeway. And so we've been trying to reposition the chopper here to try and see if we can get eyes on the skirmish line being formed by the CHP. It's kind of hard to make out here as we are slightly shooting into the sun and our elevation as well. There's a couple law enforcement ships below us, so we can't get much lower than this, but for the most part, this group has been pretty much just standing in place for the most part, not moving, and pretty adamant that they're not going anywhere at this point.
All right, Roland, it looked like there's a little bit of smoke being deployed there, and we started to see the group start to walk away, but not too many people left that area. Karma Dickerson, our reporter there, is on the ground as well. She is in downtown, has been covering the story all day. Karma, if you could give us a little perspective, what you've been seeing, what you've been covering, and what you're seeing right now, if we can go to Karma.
We're showing you exactly what we're seeing right now over the freeway. It's the 101 freeway. We are several blocks back from where a lot of the activity is going on. But if you take back another look from our perspective from the Grand Avenue overpass, you can see the tail end of the chaos that's going on the 101 freeway. Those are the officers. You can see some of the flashing lights just
going
beyond
crazy
us,
in the background.
Freeway exits down, and from where we are, we can hear what sounds like flashbangs going on. We know there is an effort to clear people from the freeway. So much of the perspective we're getting is the same one that you're getting from News Chopper 4, giving us an idea of what's going on the ground. But if it gives you an idea of just how far this sound and this effect carries, we can see smoke rising just beyond us, a couple of freeway exits down, and hear those bangs going off. From here, you cannot see the people that are on the ground, but you can see lines of cars stopping, people stopping on the freeway overpasses to try to understand what's going on beneath. Of course, the advice from law enforcement is to clear out of this area. If you are on the freeway, that's certainly what they're asking people to do, but even people around on the surrounding streets, because this completely locked down the area of downtown, people just trying to go about their daily business, people trying to get in and around the area. And then, of course, people who've started to clear the area and walk back to their cars and try to get home. And so it's really a mess both on the freeway and on the city streets.
Yeah, this has been declared an unlawful assembly. As we're watching Roland's shots as we talk to you, Karma, I did see at least one person throw things at officers who were trying to get these protesters off the roadway. Did you see the line of cars that were on the roadway, too? They had to turn around, go the opposite way as CHP helped them get off the freeway. These were unsuspecting drivers, I'm assuming, who got caught up in this unknowingly.
Yes, and we saw sort of an unusual sight where you see on the freeway people backing up and coming. And one, I'm not sure if we're able to show them, where we can see right the Los Angeles street exit coming up, but also Broadway just beyond it. We saw cars that were pulled under the underpass and had to back up and go back off on Broadway to try to get out of this standstill traffic and trying to get clear of this area. So for the most part, at least from our perspective, we can see that the freeway is clear of these cars coming on, but that is because so many of those unsuspecting drivers were diverted and had to drive off of the freeway, in some cases turning around or driving backwards.
Yeah, we're watching the traffic nightmare right now as drivers are trying to get off the road, and then people, they're all lined up there just watching. We have people, and then in between officers, and then on the guardrail, people standing there talking to the officers, taking pictures, and then other people who were part of that crowd down below.
And it is interesting, Karma, as we talk to you, we are seeing those, we see your shot here with more CHP officers arriving, and we're seeing also the first movement of people kind of backing up as officers converge there underneath that underpass, or that overpass, rather. They're right underneath it, and it's just this ongoing standoff. It's interesting to watch in real time. And Karma, it seems to be completely disorganized out there in terms of the protests that were once organized. Now it's just seemingly a bunch of people everywhere.
Yes, and so it's so much of what you see on the streets is people who clearly were responding to that dispersal order, or maybe they had just been out for too long, but people who definitely seem to be leaving the area, going about. Some people had signs, some people, had some flags, and so you can tell where they had been earlier, and they were moving away from this downtown core where all of this is focused. But then, of course, you have the number of people who are still in the standoff with law enforcement, and so there are people all over, and it's causing issues for blocks and blocks on the streets. And even the freeway, as you come here through these downtown interchanges, you can see the impact with the traffic just really just snarled, not what you would expect to see on a Sunday afternoon.
And how is that traffic moving? Are you seeing people? I mean, here it looks relatively organized. It's just kind of a mess. And earlier when we saw people turning around, they really seemed like they were desperate to get out of there, which I understand. They're caught in the situation. They want to get out. They don't know what's happening.
Absolutely. And keep in mind, especially if you're in the car and not necessarily aware of what's going on or which is the best way to get out, you're hearing these loud pops and you're seeing smoke rise in the air. You have no idea what is the best way to get out of this and how quickly you need to be moving, and that's not, you don't have a lot of options when you're stuck in freeway traffic. Fortunately, at least from the perspective we're showing you now, they've done a lot to either shut down entrances and exits and clear the backup of traffic, at least in this particular section, so people don't find themselves stuck in it. But it looks like we are seeing, I believe this car you're watching drive up now is also a law enforcement car. At least I think I could tell that from the license plate as it was driving up. So
damn,
no more
crazy.
just ordinary people out and about driving up to this, but people are certainly impacted on the streets surrounding it.
Our Karma Dickerson there on the ground in downtown LA. Karma, thank you. Stand by and continue to stay safe. I want to see if we can go back up quickly to Roland Sproul, because Roland, we're finally seeing some movement here with CHP officers there trying to finally get this crowd off the 101 there.
Yes, and we have seen what appears to be the flashbangs that Karma was referring to. We've seen the smoke as well, and that seems to be having some effect, as well as officers now advancing to push these people back off.
Yeah, this could turn into a crazy situation, guys. We'll have to stay tuned and see what ends up happening, but man, it could get wild down there. Law enforcement looks like they're not going to play around, which, don't blame them. So it looks like they're about to turn up the pressure a little bit. We'll keep an eye on it. If it gets crazier, we'll come back and we'll do another live or something. So we'll play it by ear and we'll keep an eye on it. But I'm about to call it here. I was just doing a quick little live to check in on the situation down there, since I'm out here in Cali myself. I know it could get crazy real quick and spread all the way up here, but yeah, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and call it here. We'll keep an eye out on the situation. If things get crazier down there, we'll hop back on and we'll check it out. But all right, guys, God bless. I'll catch you on the next one.